If you're a beginner in makeup and you want to learn how to serve up the most beautiful and easy glam makeup look, this is the video for you. I'm going to walk you through the easiest everyday glam makeup tutorial. That way you can look snatched and ready to go each and every single day. For starters, we are going to prep our skin with For starters, we need to prep our skin before we apply our foundation. I don't like typical primers. If they work for you, great. For me, I'm just not a fan. So I like to go in with just a nice gentle moisturizer. This is the Morphe 2 Total Softy Gel Moisturizer. I love gel-based moisturizers because it really absorbs into your skin and it kind of makes it almost tacky. So that way when you apply your foundation, it has something really nice to stick to. While I'm letting my moisturizer really kind of set into my skin, I'm going to start off by doing my brows. I'm taking the ABH Brow Wiz brow pencil, and I'm just going to take the spoolie end and brush my hairs up and out of the way as best I can. So starting at the bottom, very, very lightly, I'm just going to fill in any sparse areas and kind of define the line. So at the end, I'm going to take the tail down a little bit just to make it a little bit longer. Then brush my hairs down and do the exact same thing on the top. Once you have the shape like that, which is pretty dang good, I'm just going to lightly fill in any sparse areas in the middle of my brow, and at the very front just kind of flick it upwards to fill it in. This will help you keep that ombre effect, that way it doesn't look like Sharpie brows, like a James Charles throwback that we don't want.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, I'm scared.
And then take your spoolie end and just blend that product together. That way everything's nice and smooth, one color, and it looks really, really nice. Once both brows are filled in and shaped, if you do make them a little bit too large or maybe they're a little bit messy, you could just easily go in with a flat eyeshadow brush and some concealer and just clean up around them wherever you need to. Sometimes I go a little heavy-handed and my brows end up too thick.
I like them thick. I like them chunky.
Hi, sisters! So next we're gonna go in with foundation. I'm using the Milani 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect Foundation in the shade 00 Light Natural. I love the coverage of this foundation. It's a medium buildable foundation. I just put a little bit on the back of my hand so that I don't over apply because we don't want any cakiness or anything like that. Little bit goes a long way with most makeup products, especially foundation. When I'm applying this, I'm just going to apply it firstly in the areas where I have the most surface area. So for most people, it's their cheek area and their forehead. So I do this so that I can get the majority of the product that I'm actually going to be using on my face, and then I'll use my damp beauty sponge. This is what I like to use personally to blend out my foundation because it creates a very soft and natural looking finish, and it's just easier. So once I have this foundation applied to my cheeks and my forehead, I'm going to just start blending it all out. The thing with foundation is that a lot of people tend to literally paint on their foundation.
Okay, I like it, Picasso.
So when you see those videos where people are literally painting on foundation, like stripes on their face, and they're like,
wow, so much coverage.
well, yeah, because you're literally painting on foundation. Foundation is not meant to be painted on. It's meant to be blended out. It needs room to move. Foundation's on, our base is already looking very smooth and nice. And I do want to note that I don't take my foundation all the way up underneath my eyes because that's just a recipe for creasing and nobody on this planet wants creasing. Since we're going with concealer, that's for the most part, most people really only need concealer. They don't need both foundation and concealer. It's a bit overkill. So with this look being more of a glam look, I do want something that's a bit either the same color of... So since this is going to be more of a glam moment, I want to use a concealer that's a little bit lighter than my foundation just to kind of give you that Instagram baddie highlighting look. So I apply some down by the sides of my nose, and then I will take it up at an angle. That way when I blend it out, which you'll see in a moment, it kind of lifts and snatches my face. A little bit down the nose, of course, and then a little bit right in the center of my forehead, and then a little bit on my chin. Okay, so before we blend this concealer out, I'm going to take some setting spray, whatever you want to use is fine, and I spray my face. This is just going to add a little bit of moisture back into my skin, kind of reactivate the foundation's tackiness, and then also allow me to blend it out a bit easier. So I'm taking my little damp mini beauty sponge. I love the smaller ones because you can get in all the nooks and crannies much easier. And I'm gonna start off by blending around my chin area, and then I'll do my nose. I like to do the areas that have the least amount of concealer first. That way I'm not applying too much, because if I did my under eyes where there's the majority of the product first, if I did that first, I'd have a bunch on my sponge, and then if I go down here and on my nose, I'm over applying it then. So I do these areas first, then I'll move on to my forehead, and I do everything almost in like a small circular motion. That way everything is just really nice and blended. For under eyes, just stamp everything into place and then just look up so you can get really, really close underneath your eye. And then I take everything up at an angle, like I said, so it kind of lifts my face. You see how it has that line and it kind of lifts it up? That's what I personally like to go for. Okay, once our concealer is set into place, we need to move on to setting powder. I'm gonna be using my ABH translucent setting powder. So I apply a bit extra powder underneath my eyes and let it sit for about 30 seconds. And then the rest of my face, I'll just take a little bit on my sponge and just stamp it in where I blended out my concealer. If you have areas that are extra oily, make sure you're hitting those areas with your setting powder. Once I've let my under eye powder set for a good 30 to 60 seconds, I'm just going to brush the powder away. So our face is looking flawless and snatched as it is, but now we need to bring some depth and dimension back into our face. So we're gonna start with bronzing. Some people like to contour and some people like to bronze and some people like to do both. I like to just give myself a nice bronze moment. When you're contouring, you're using a product like this, but something a bit more cool toned, and you're trying to emulate shadows to chisel your features and just really give more of a sunken in moment so that your cheekbones look prominent and your jawline looks prominent. When you bronze, you're using a product also like this, but just a bit warmer, and you're hitting the high points of your face to bring back some warmth to your face. I have found shades like this where it's kind of in between cool and warm. It's just almost neutral, but it allows me to have that dimension that I want, but also some warmth to my face. So I start right here in my temple, right on my jaw. So I like to start bronzing in my temple area down onto my cheekbone. And what I do is I don't take it past this outer third. That way I always have a lifted look. If you take it down further, it starts to drag down your face, and we don't want our face to ever look dragged. Is that the word? If you're someone who does not have facial hair, you can also do this on your jawline. Tighten your jaw like that, and just go along your jawline all the way across, and then kind of like flick it down just a little bit. So I'm gonna take a small, more dense brush like this. That way it picks up and applies more product. And I'm just gonna go down the bridge of my nose. Remember, the closer the lines are together, the more snatched looking your nose is, and the further apart the lines are, the larger your nose is gonna look. Take it up, and I take it and kind of flick it into my brow. And then what I do is I make sure I apply the product enough right in the beginning, and then I just take my sponge and lightly stamp over it. This is gonna tone it down a little bit, blend it out so there's no harsh lines or anything like that. Next, we're gonna move on to blush. If you don't love blush, you should. I'm gonna go in with my Lunar Beauty Moon Prism Blush palette in the shade Pink Moon. I'm gonna take a brush like this. So this is a bit less fluffy, so it's a bit more dense than the last brush I was using, so it's gonna apply more product, but it's still fluffy enough to where it's not gonna be anything harsh. And I'm just gonna stamp this right on top of my cheekbones and kind of take it up into my temples, just because I want everything to kind of be lifted and snatched. Once you have that step done, if you want to use highlighter, go for it. But I am going to spray my face again with some setting spray, just so that the highlighter has something to stick to. I'm going to go in with this Makeup Revolution Internal Glow, I said that weird. And then a little fluffy brush like this, and I just kind of roll it into the product, because I don't want a ton, right above my cheekbone area, and I like to take it down towards the center a little bit. Same thing over here. Take it up towards the end of the tail of my brow, and then towards my apple of my cheek. Just kind of stamp it on. And then if you want to do a little bit on your nose, just do a little bit on the tip. And then don't take it all the way down the bridge of your nose, that's weird. Just do it at the very top, like the first half of your nose. And if you really want to be extra, you can brush a little bit above your brow bone. Lastly, I'm just gonna spray my face one more time. For the sake of time, I'm of course just gonna do one eye on camera, and then I'll do the other off camera, but we always wanna make sure that we're prepping our lid with a proper eyeshadow base. If the only thing you have is concealer, by all means, use your concealer, but concealer is not formulated to be on the lids. Your lids end up typically being a bit more oily than the rest of your skin, and concealer is also kind of oily. Hydration on top of oily eyelids is a recipe for creasing and just losing pigmentation and shadow throughout the day. I'm using the Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas Eyeshadow Base, which is one of my favorites. A little bit goes a very long way, keep in mind. And then once I apply it, I just flip this sponge around and just kind of stamp over it to really set it in place. This will cancel out any discoloration on your eyelid and really get it prepped and primed for some eyeshadow. So since we're doing a glamorous neutral gold, since we're doing more of a glam neutral moment today, I'm gonna bust out my favorite 35X Big Primpin' Eyeshadow palette from Morphe. This is a neutral or glam lover's dream. Now, as I said, this is gonna be a really quick and easy look. That way you can replicate it very easily. It doesn't take you a lot of time, and a very nice go-to look every day if you want. So I'm gonna start off with a rather fluffy blending brush like this. This is gonna allow us to just do a nice wash of color. And what I'm gonna go in with first is more of like a medium brown. So I think we're gonna dip into a little bit of this right here, which is called Beauty Secret. All I'm gonna do is start very lightly and hold your brush at the end of the brush. If you hold it down here, you're gonna apply too much pressure and too much product. Starting in my outer corner, I'm just going to lightly brush this on with small circular motions. This is gonna allow us to apply the product while also blending it out essentially at the same time. Then I'm gonna start slowly taking it into my crease, which is this little part right here, and then down towards my inner corner, just to connect this and kind of create a circular rounded shape. So once you have that first wash of color on, we're gonna take a smaller brush, very similar to the first, but it's slightly smaller. This is gonna apply more product, that way it's gonna apply more product, that way you're gonna be able to apply more of an intense color and less of a washed out, diffused color like we did with the first color. How many times can I say color in 30 seconds?
You said it 3 times in the past 30 seconds.
Color, color, color. So next we're gonna dip into Total Inspo down here at the bottom. This is definitely a beautiful warm toned brown, and we're gonna kind of do the same thing we did, but instead we're gonna take the placement down a little bit lower. So we're gonna again start on this outer corner and start kind of stamping on our shadow and blending it in circular motions. And then we're gonna follow the same shape as the first color, but again, be conscious that you're applying it a bit lower. That way we're not applying it right on top of that first color, because then we'll just kind of end up covering it up. Small circular motions.
Small, but I like them thick. I like them chunky.
Keep everything nice and blended. And I am going to hold the brush a little bit lower this time, closer to the tip of the brush. That way I can apply more product and have a bit more control over it. So just apply as much as you'd like until you get the color payoff that you want. Once we have that color applied like so, and we're happy with it, we're gonna go with that first brush and dip into that first shade, which was Beauty Secret. And we're just gonna go around the entire shape one last time. This is just gonna really make sure that everything's nice and blended, seamless. And again, we can adjust the shape if we want to a little bit. I'm just gonna take it out a little bit more. So you see how that softens it up compared to this side? That's what we want. Now for the lid, we need a bit of sparkle, so we need a good shimmer moment. So I'm gonna dip into Prep Work. Here at the top is a beautiful golden shimmer. Take a flat packing brush like this. Now what I like to do is tilt my head back kind of dramatically. That way if there is any fallout, it doesn't fall out onto my face. It just kind of stays on my lid. And all you're gonna do is stamp this on anywhere on your lid that does not have the shadow that we were just working with. Essentially your whole eyelid. Gorgeous, simple, and easy. Okay, so real quick off camera, I'm gonna throw on some black mascara, black eyeliner, some false lashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and here is the eye look all complete. The liner and the lashes definitely just make it look a lot more sultry, doesn't it? It does. Now, if you don't want as harsh of a lower lash line area with the black liner, definitely use like a dark brown. It'll take it down a notch, but still make sense with the look. So now we're moving on to the really fun part, which is the lip. What is gonna make this look just really pop and look contrasting compared to the eyes? A nice red lip. Okay, so while that liquid lipstick is drying down, which takes 30 seconds to a minute, we're gonna spray our face one last time to lock everything in and keep us looking fantastic as long as possible. And that, my friends, is the final look And that, my friends, is the final look all complete, showing you how to create this super easy, everyday glam makeup look. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video was helpful to as many of you But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up down below. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.